Chapter 2 talk about something called double entry. What's meant by double entry? From the word itself, double means two things. So for any transaction, I have to make two records. What's meant by transaction? Transaction means any financial event or any financial activity. As we said before, the process of accounting or the main object of accounting is to record all financial information. So now I will record financial information. This financial information called transaction. Transaction, which means if I bought something, if I sell something, if I took money from someone. So this is called transaction. Okay. So double entry means that for any transaction, I have to make two entries. How we gonna to see? Okay. So for this transaction, I have two types of transaction: cash transaction and credit transaction. Credit, we said it before, ya Ahmed. What's meant by credit? If I'm gonna to buy or sell something, but the payment of money or the receiving of money will be delayed. I will receive money later or I will pay money later. So this is called credit transaction. Credit, why credit? Because there is delaying in the payment or receipt of money. Cash transaction, if I'm gonna to receive money immediately, okay? Or pay money immediately. I have to record this entries or this transaction in something called ledger. What's this ledger? Ledger, it's like a book. It's not a normal book as we used to know, yani. And we will record all the transaction in it. All of this, we're going to apply it, okay? So now we said we have something called accounting equation. Accounting equation said that I have assets equal capital plus liabilities, okay? So this side, which is assets, which is left-hand side, I will call it debit, which means any assets I have, it has a debit balance. Debit. Actually, the abbreviation of debit is DR. The word itself, debit, here as you can see up, there is no R in it, but the abbreviation is DR. So what's debit is the left-hand side of the account. The left-hand side, any left-hand side of the account, and I will show you how the account will look like. It's called debit. The right-hand side, it's called what? Credit. So credit is capital plus capital and liabilities, both of them. The normal balance of them is credit. Okay. So if you have any assets, if I asked you, what's the balance of your assets, you will say it's debit balance. What the balance of capital and liabilities? It's credit balance. Okay. Okay. Now, how the ledger look like? It will look like this. It's like T account. We sometimes call it T account. It's like the T letter, okay? This side, the left-hand side is what is debit. The right-hand side is what is credit. Right. If you, for example, if I have vehicle, okay, and I purchase extra vehicle. So now in this case, your vehicle will increase or decrease? It will increase. Anything increase remains the same. So this means that the increasement, for example, I have vehicle by $20,000. I bought another vehicle by 10. So this 10, the amount of 10, I will put it where? I will put it under the debit side here, which means it's still debit. Now, if I sold one of my vehicles, I have vehicles by 20. I sold one by 5. This means that the vehicle will increase or decrease. Will decrease. So it will go to the other side. So I will write here the $5,000. Okay. Another example. I have bank loan. We said that bank loan debit or credit? Bank loan is credit. Okay. So if the bank loan decreases, so it will be what? Decreases, which means that I pay back some of my bank loan. I return it. I had bank loan by 20. I repaid 5. So the 20, where I will write this 20? Let me show you here. This is the bank loan. This is the T account that I said. So T account, bank loan here, it's debit or credit? It's credit. Why? Because it's liabilities. Okay? Where I will put this bank loan? I will put it in this side, the right-hand side or the left-hand side? No, I will put it in the right-hand side because this side is credit and this side is debit. Okay? So I will put it here. For example, $20,000. This is the value of what? This is the value of bank loan. I make extra bank loan by $10,000. So where I will put the extra bank loan, the bank loan increase or decrease, you have to ask yourself, it will increase or decrease? It will increase because I made extra bank loan. Yani I had 20, now my bank loan is supposed to be 30 because I made 10 more. Where I will put this 10? This 10 is supposed to be here, under the credit. Exactly like positive and negative. If you have positive and positive, this means that you're going to add or subtract. You're going to add. Suppose this is the positive. So now, credit and credit means positive and positive. So I'm going to add. But if I put it here, this means that I have positive and negative. So I'm going to subtract. Okay? Right. Now, if I repaid back $5,000, this means that your bank loan will increase or decrease? My bank loan will decrease because I repay part of my loan. So when it decreases, where I will put it? In the other side. Okay? Another example. Let's talk about bank. I have $70,000 in my bank. Where I will put it? This is the debit side and this is the credit side. You have to ask yourself first, bank is what? Assets, capital, or liabilities? Bank is assets. Assets, debit or credit? Let's remember. Here is the accounting equation. Assets equal capital plus liabilities. And we said that the left-hand side is debit, the right-hand side is credit. Okay? So here, assets is what? Assets is debit. So bank is what? Bank is debit. So if I have $70,000 in my bank, where I will put it? Under the debit side. Suppose that I purchased something by $10,000. So my bank increase or decrease. When you purchase something, your bank will increase or decrease? My bank will decrease. So where I will put this decreasement? In the other side. So I will put it here. But suppose that I sold some of my inventory. Inventory means goods. I have some goods and I sell some goods. So this means that I received money or I paid money. When I sell something, of course, I'm going to receive. So where I will put this amount? I will put it here. Suppose it's by 20. Okay? So here, any increase. Here, any decrease. For bank loan, which is liability. Here, any increase, and here, any decrease. Why? Because bank loan is credit. The original value of bank loan is credit. So any increase will be under credit, will be the same. So I told my student that increase remains the same. Decrease will be in the opposite side. So increase in the same side, in the same side. Decrease in the opposite side, in the opposite side. Okay? Now, let's go to the thing that we was talking about. As I said, this is my assets, and this is the debit side, and this is the credit side. So when assets increase, it will be debit. When assets decrease, it will be credit. And for capital and liabilities, it's the opposite case. Capital and liabilities, the original balance is credit. So when it increase, it will be credit. When it decrease, it will be debit. This is like the alphabets in English. In accounting, the alphabets is debit and credit. The main thing that you couldn't solve anything if you didn't understand the debit and the credit, okay? Is my ledger will be like this, just numbers? No, it will not be like this. I have to write 3 information in my ledger. Suppose this is my ledger. First, I have to write the date of the transaction. Because when I want to refer back to my ledger, I want to know this transaction occurs in which day. So I have to write my date. And I have to write the name of the other account. What does it mean? The name of the other account. I will call it details. What does it mean? For example, I said I purchased vehicle by check. By check means from the bank. If you find the word check, this means from the bank. So in this case, I have 2 accounts. I have vehicle and I have bank. What happened to your vehicle? My vehicle increases, which means it will be debit. What happened to your bank? My bank decreases. Why decreases? Because I took money from my bank, so it will decrease. So in this case, I have to open two accounts for each one. One account for bank and one account for vehicle. In the date, I will write the date of the transaction. Under details, if I said that the original balance that I have in my bank, suppose it's $50,000. This is the balance that I had in my bank, okay? Suppose that this was, for example, in January 1, at the beginning of the month, the balance that I have to write balance, BAL, it's abbreviation for balance, $50,000. This is the amount that I have. I said I bought vehicle, for example, by $20,000. This happened in January 2. Always we will write first, I have to write the month, abbreviation, and I have to write the date, okay? So in Jan 2, I purchased vehicle by check. So what does it mean? I make something called like translation for the transaction. So we said that we have bank and we have vehicle. Okay, my bank increase or decrease? I bought vehicle. This means by check, which means from my bank. This means that I paid money from my bank. This means that your bank will increase or decrease, it will decrease. When bank decrease, it will be debit or credit. So let's take it by order. First, bank is kind of what? It's kind of assets. Assets, the original balance of assets, debit or credit? Debit. So when it decreases, it will be credit. So I'll write here credit. But for vehicle increases because I bought extra vehicle. I had one, now I bought another one, so I have two. So my vehicle increases. My vehicle, is it debit or credit? Vehicle is assets, so vehicle is debit. When it increases, it will be debit as it is. How I will write this down? Now we said that bank will be credit. All of this happened in Jan 2, okay? By, for example, $10,000. So what I will do in bank, in the credit side, first I have to write the date, Jan 2. In bank, why bank decreases? What's the reason for this $10,000? What's the reason for decreasing bank? The reason that I bought vehicle. So you have here to write the name of the other account. So I'll write vehicle. The name of the other account. Let's go to vehicle and see again. What happened to vehicle? Increases or decrease? It increase. We said it will be debit. So I'll write here. What I have to write? Three things. First, the date. Jan 2. The name of the other account. You purchase vehicle from where? From my bank. So I will write bank. By how much? $10,000. And this is what's called double entry. Now, two entries for one transaction that occurred in Jan 2. Okay? Now, I think the point will be obvious for you. Let's take more examples and more details. Some examples, and here in these examples, I will just say what will be debit and what will be credit. Here, the owner invests money in the business. Investing money in the business means that I have capital. As we said, Yazena, that capital is the money invested by the owner. So when I just said the owner invests money or put money in the business, this means that I have capital. Right. Capital increase or decrease? I put money. So my capital increase. So it will be debit or credit? It will be credit. Right. Where I will put this money, if I didn't mention where he put it, automatic in the bank. So I put it in the bank. So what will happen to your bank? Increase or decrease? Increase. So it will be debit or credit? Debit. Why debit? Because bank is assets and assets is debit. When the debit increase, it remains debit. Another case. Purchase machinery by cash. So my machinery increase or decrease? My machinery will increase. But machinery is kind of what? It's kind of assets. When assets increases, it will be debit. I purchase from where? From my cash. So what will happen to your cash? Your cash decreased. Decreased. Cash is what? Cash is assets. When assets decrease, it will be credit. Another example, made bank loan. I made a bank loan. I borrowed money from bank. So I have bank loan. Bank loan is kind of what? Bank loan is kind of liabilities. Previous lesson. When a bank loan increase or decrease, by order. You have to think by order. Come on, at the beginning. After a while, automatic, you're gonna to answer. Bank loan increase or decrease, bank loan increase because I made extra bank loan. Bank loan assets, capital or liabilities, bank loan is liabilities. Liabilities debit or credit, liabilities credit. When it increase, it remains the same, which means it will be credit. Now, this bank loan, I took this money, I put it where? You have to think that you have to have two things that will be affected from one transaction. I took bank loan, I put this money where? I put it in my bank. So what will happen to your bank? Your bank will increase, so it will be debit. As we said up, when bank increase, it will be debit. Another example, purchase vehicle on credit. I purchase vehicle, so my vehicle increases or decreases when you buy extra vehicle, so it will increase. Vehicle, assets, capital or liabilities, vehicle is assets. When assets increase, it will be debit. Right. On credit means that I didn't pay the money right now, I will pay it later. And in this case, I have something called trade payable. Trade payable, it's like an evidence that I'm gonna to pay this money later. And it's kind of liability. Why? Because liabilities, as we said, the thing that you have to pay back. So now, I had more trade payable. I had more money that I have to pay back in the future. So my trade payable, what happened to trade payable? Increase. Trade payable, kind of what? It's kind of liabilities. Liabilities is what? Liabilities is credit. So when credit increase, it remains credit. Sell furniture by check. I sold furniture. When you sell furniture, this means that your furniture increase or decrease, my furniture will decrease. So furniture is what? Furniture is assets. It's my resources. So when assets decrease, it will be debit or credit, it will be credit. Right. When you sell something, you have to receive something in front of it. I received what? I received a check. So now, check means bank. So this means that your bank increase or decrease. This means that my bank will increase. So when your bank increase, it will be debit. Another thing, when the owner withdraw money for private use. What does it mean withdraw money for private use? For example, I have a business and we are partners. Every one of us put $10,000 in this business. Now, for any reason, I took 1,000 for myself. It's not for the business. I took it to my son, for example. He wants to buy something, so I took $1,000 from the business. In this case, when the business will finish and we gonna to give each one his capital, how much they gonna to give to me? $10,000 that I put it at the beginning? No, they will give me 9. Why? Because I already took 1. So anything I took as an owner from the business for private use, this means that the capital will decrease. When the capital decreases, it will be debit or credit? It will be debit. Why? Because capital is what? Capital is credit. So when it decreases, it will be debit. In this case, I call this case drawing. I call the decrease in capital drawing. And I will open a separate account for it. And I will call it drawing. So drawing is debit. Okay, the owner took money for private use. He took this money from bank or from cash. This means that the bank or the cash will decrease. They will be credit because bank and cash is kind of assets. Now let's take an example and we will solve together. And I want you to concentrate with me. January 1, Ajay began business. He opened a business bank account and invested $80,000 as capital. So now I have to translate this transaction. Now we have to have 2 accounts that should be changed. Now he said that he opened a business bank account. So in this case, I have something what? I have bank. And this money, he bring it from where? From the capital, because it's his own money. So in this case, in Jan 1, this is the translation, as I said, from the transaction. Now, in Jan 1, what happened? Capital will increase because the owner puts money in his business bank account. So when the owner puts money, this means that he puts capital. So capital is debit or credit, capital is credit. So I know that in Jan 1, I have increase in capital and it will be in the credit side. What's the other account? We said for any transaction, we have to have two accounts. Now, ask yourself, where he put this money? He said here he opened what? A business bank account. So he put it where? In the bank. What happened to the bank? The bank will increase. Increase means debit or credit for bank. Bank is assets, so it's debit. So when it increases, it remains debit. Okay? How I will do this? I said that the bank will be debit. So in Jan 1, we said we have to write two information. Jan 1. We said the two account is bank and capital. So what I will write here under bank, I will write the name of the other account, which is capital. The second thing, what's the third thing? The dollar value of the amount, which is $80,000. Now what I have to do, I have to open another account called capital account. We said that capital will be debit or credit, it will be credit. So I will write here. What I will write? Three information. Jan 1, under details, I will write what? The name of the other account, which is bank. By how much? The same value, which is $80,000. Each time I will do the same. Okay? Now, let's see the other transaction. Fixture and equipment costing $30,000 were bought and paid for by check. So, what's the two accounts that I have? Yalla ya Ahmed. Tell me what's the two accounts that will be affected here in Jan 2.
Fixtures and equipment costing 30,000 were bought and paid for by check. 1 minute. Bank
And?
debit decrease and fixture and equipment debit increase.
طيب. يعني ايه debit decrease? It means what? It will be debit, remains debit, or it will be credit?
لا I mean bank decrease debit يعني بيدفع debit البنك بيحصل له.
Yes, I know. Yes, when I paid from the bank, so the balance of the bank will decrease. So it will be debit or credit?
Debit because he said check.
لا يا Mr. Ahmed, I said when the bank decreases, it will be in the other side, which means it will be in the credit side. Okay? When it will increase, so assets itself, it could be two things, debit or credit, according. If it increase, it will be debit. If it decrease, it will be credit. So here in this case, what I will do, I will write here, I will open an account for furniture and bank. Okay? We said that furniture, fixture, and equipment will increase. So it will be what? It will be debit. Fixture and fitting or fixture and equipment increase, it will be debit. So I will write here. What I will write? Jan 2.
Jan 2, fixture and equipment.
In fixture and equipment, what I will write here in details?
Fixed dot? Or
in fixture and equipment, I will write fixture and equipment again.
You could write FIX dot, abbreviation for fixture.
We said under fixture and equipment, I will write the name of the other account. What's the other account that we said that we have? As you may see
bank.
here, we said that we have bank. So I have to write bank.
Okay.
By how much? By $30,000. Right. Bank. What I will do in bank, yeah.
In bank, we will write in the credit side.
أيوة.
هنكتب Jan 2.
Excellent.
Fixture and equipment.
Fixture and equipment.
وبعديها $30,000.
$30,000. Can you see my handwriting?
Yes.
Okay. Now, يا زينة, a short-term loan of $10,000 was received from AB Loans. What's the two accounts that has been affected? Short-term loan from AB Loans.
Short-term loan and AB loans?
ما هو short term loans it's the same like AB loans. يعني short term loan, the name of short term loan this AB loan. So I have AB loan.
Okay, AB loan and bank.
Credit. And bank, excellent. Because when I'm gonna to take this money, I will put it where? I will put it in
the bank.
Yes. AB loan will be debit or credit?
Credit.
The loan is kind of, yes, excellent. The loan is kind of what? It's kind of liabilities. Liabilities debit or credit? Liabilities credit. An AB loan, this means that my liabilities increases or decreases. I made extra loan, so my liabilities will increase. So
increase.
Credit. And the bank, what will happen to my bank?
It will decrease.
How? I took money from someone and I took this money and I will put it in my bank. So what will happen?
Oh, it will increase.
It will increase and it will be debit. So now let's write here the amount in my ledger. Let me make it obvious for you. So I'll write here in AB loan, Jan 3, bank, $10,000. And I will go to bank in the debit side, as we said. I'll write only 3 because the month it's written at one time. And I'll write AB loan, $10,000. Now let's see the other transaction. In January 5, a motor vehicle costing $9,000 was bought and paid for by check. So I'm going to buy motor vehicle. So when I get motor vehicle, this means that the motor vehicle will increase by how much? By $9,000. So if motor vehicle increase, let's ask yourself, motor vehicle is kind of assets. When assets increase, it will be debit. So I have motor vehicle in debit, and I paid from where? I paid by check. So my bank will increase or decrease when I pay from my bank. So my bank will decrease, so it will be credit. So here motor vehicle increase debit and bank decrease credit. Let's see how we're gonna write this here. So I will go to bank in the credit side. I'll write 5 motor vehicle $9,000, and I will open a new account called motor vehicle. Okay, because I don't have motor vehicle before. So I'll write here January 5 bank $9,000. This means I asked you to read this transaction, to read this entry. This means when motor vehicle here in the debit side, so purchase motor vehicle by $9,000 from where? From bank. This means by check. Okay? So you have to note a very important thing, that you will never find in one transaction both debit or both credit. As you see here, in Jan 1, credit and debit. Jan 2, debit and credit. Jan 3, credit and debit. Jan 5, debit and credit. So if you translate your transaction and you will find that you have both debit or both credit, so of course you made something wrong. One should be debit and the other should be credit. So start by the one that you are sure of it. Yani if I said paid by check, I'm sure that when I pay by check, this means that the bank decreased, this means that the bank will be credit. So automatic motor vehicle will be a debit. Let's see the last one. A long-term loan for $5,000 was received from Ajaya's sister Malika. So now I made a loan from Malika. So what's the entries or what's the account that I have right now? I have Malika, which is loan, which is liability. And I have what? When I receive loan, automatic, where I will put it? I will put it in my bank. Right. Malika now, it's a loan. So it's liability. And it's increased. So it will be debit or credit. It will be credit. And my bank, I put money in my bank. So what will happen to my bank? My bank will increase or decrease. My bank, of course, will increase. So it will be debit. Now, let's see how we will do this. I will open an account called Malika, Malika loan. A-C, it's abbreviation of account. I'll write in the credit side. So I'll write here, Jan 6, bank, it was by $5,000. $5,000. let's go to bank. In the debit side, because we said it's increased, so I'll write 6. I will not repeat the month. And I will write what? Malika loan by $5,000. And as I said, the numbers should be under each other. The name of the account under each other, and the date should be under each other. Okay? Now I finished this question. This is the first part of our chapter, of chapter 2. So we just took an introduction how to make ledger account. Second part, I will give you more accounts and more kinds rather than assets, capital, and liabilities, and we're gonna to talk about them. But be sure that you can solve this question by yourself. To do it by yourself, here's the question, here's the assignment that you have to do. Try to make it by yourself, and see you in the next part, inshallah. And thank you for watching. Wish you all the luck.